I am so proud to have all of you that are tuning in. Thank you, the contender force commander. Thank you for tuning in. Uh, Remember that I am broadcast live on my Facebook and on my YouTube. So either way, on my YouTube it's called Transparency Media International for those that may be watching on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, thank you, Coin, for tuning in. If you are on YouTube, it's Transparency Media International. Thank you, Joe, for tuning in. Uh, Thank you, Boris Yeshi, for tuning in on my YouTube. Thank you. So remember that either way, you should be getting me live. I want to thank all of you that are joining me. There is a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, and I want to thank all of my people. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. We need unity at this moment that our people has been torn apart and disgruntledness. So more and about what is going on. I want to thank you. If you just join in, make sure you share and make sure you keep the momentum moving. I will be your humble servant, Futon Daniel, speaking live here from the great state of Texas here in the United States. Stay tuned and don't go away. So, how you all doing? I want to appreciate all of you. How you all doing? And let me fix this. But but before we start, what make up the news today? Let me fix. Okay. Before we dive into what make up news today, we will start by listening to the Ambazonian national anthems, and then we look at what make up the news and what is the way moving forward. I know there is a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the newest British Prime Minister, what he had for the people of Ambazonia, Boris Johnson. He will be taking office in a few days from now. And and then we will be talking about the top U.S. general and what they have for the people of Ambazonia. And we will be talking about the France oligarchy. We will talk about the revolt in La Republic Maximum security prison. And we'll also talk about the maximum security in Bamenda and Boea. All these and more. And stay tuned. Don't go away. Before we start, let's listen to Ambazonian national anthem. I want to thank all of you that are tuning in. Tomorrow is Tuesday the 24th. Tomorrow is Tuesday the 24th. It's marking the new day for the people of Great Britain. It's marking the new day that the British will get up and find someone they believe that it's going to be their prime minister, and that will be Boris Johnson. In his key message, he addressed the conservatives, the British conservatives. He spoke about British exit. He spoke about the British exit from the European Union. And you are all aware that the union, hello, bro, thank you so much. The union between the British was a sovereign nation. When the British chose to join the European Union, there was no single gunshot that was fired. And when the British chose to leave the European Union, there was no single gunshot that was fired. It was unanimous debate, friendly gesture deciding whether British should continue with the European Union. And it was unanimously agreed that they will choose to exit the European Union without a single gunshot. Even though they claimed that they was member of the European Union, but they were partially to the European Union. The British never fully give up their sovereignty to the European Union because the Europeans expect the British to use the European currency as the official tender in Great Britain. Instead, during this period, there was still British pound as the currency of Great Britain, even though they claim that they have to be a relationship between the European Union. But that does not exist. Even though they choose that they want to remain separate from the European Union. But however, there was no union that existed, even though there was a vote that was conducted. They still remain who they ever they are, the British. So what I am bringing attention that tomorrow he would take the helm of the British enterprise, become the British Prime Minister. But I am here to remind the world community that the people of Southern Cameroon share the same value. They are being massacred by a neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. Civil war going, not a civil war because civil war means the Babylonian fighting against La Republic or against Cameroon. That is what is called a civil war. But this is a war that was declared by La Republic on behalf onto the people of Southern Cameroon. And so if the British can exit the European Union, so obviously the people of Southern Cameroon has the prerogative to exit the relationship that never existed between La Republic of Cameroon. I am here to remind the British Prime Minister that the people of Southern Cameroon were forced into a wedding that never took place by maybe your great-grandfather, or not even your great-grandfather, maybe your close relative or your distant father. Because if we look at in terms of age, you are not older than, it could be your father that they decide the future of the people of Southern Cameroon and force the people of Southern Cameroon to a relationship that never existed. If you are standing today to declare that you want to exit the European Union, but you believe the people of Southern Cameroon should be a slave to the neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon. But I am here to remind you, the Prime Minister, that as you take the helm of the enterprise of the Great Britain, the people of Southern Cameroon has moving forward with their sovereignty. They have declared their sovereignty and they will use whatever avenue they have to fortify their defensive system. I am here to remind the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, that today, henceforth, whatever is going to be your policy towards Africa, but I want to remind you about the people of injustice that were being perpetrated to the people of Southern Cameroon by a forceful relationship and the British that imposed upon the people of Southern Cameroon. I am here to remind the world. I am one of the sons and daughters of Southern Cameroon Ambazonia. I am here in this amazing nation, the United States. When I came here, I was looked upon. I provide all the best by these wonderful great nations. And I look back home, I look about the injustice that have been perpetrated in all my people. But I am here to remind Boris Johnson that as you take over the helm of the enterprise of Great Britain, I am reminding you that the people of Southern Cameroon has chosen their rightful destination. And that destination that they will never anchorage their ship or their vessel with land public in the same boat. But however, I am here to remind you that as you take the helm of the enterprise, I will urge you to unanimously recognize the existence of the people of Southern Cameroon. I am here to urge you to recognize the president and the people of Southern Cameroon as the right to freedom, the right to liberty, the right to pursue their own political destiny without coercion forced to them by the neighboring country, the Republic of Cameroon. Fellow, the people of Britain, I know many of you are watching, but I am here to remind the people of Great Britain about the people of Southern Cameroon has chosen their rightful destiny. So if British want to drag behind, but unfortunately they will be alone. But I urge the British US Prime Minister to recognize that the people of Southern Cameroon has the right to existence, the right to freedom, the right to liberty, the right to live as a nation and breathe the natural air rather than being forced into a coalition by a Republic of Cameroon. Whoever gonna be your defense secretary, I urge him to take this matter of an urgency that the people of Southern Cameroon will not in any circumstances be forced into any coalition. And that the people will look upon themselves, and that the people of Southern Cameroon, whoever you choose to be your defense secretary, we want you to recognize that the people of Southern Cameroon has the right to freedom, the right to liberty, and the right to pursue their happiness. I borrowed this from those who fought against the revolution or those who declared this United States. That the right to pursue of happiness, that was the freedom that was announced by the leadership of this amazing nation some 200 years ago when they fought against the British. I shouldn't be the one to remind the British that many nations has rise against the British government. But I think they should be more judicially acknowledged that when people stood for their freedom and there's nothing they need about except that freedom. And I am here to remind the British that the United States stood against Britain several 200 years ago. And this is to reminder that many nations have stood against Britain. It's time for the British government to recognize the people of Southern Cameroon, their right to freedom, their right to existence, their right to liberty, and their right to be as a people. I am here to remind Boris Johnson, as you take the helm of the British enterprise, these are not the brilliant top US general in these great nations. They are aware what is going on. I am asking the top US general in these wonderful, amazing nations. You all know that when 200 years, certain citizens of these great nations, they stood against Britain. They fought against slavery. They fought against enslavement of the people of the United States. And the liberty, that pursuit of happiness that was declared by the leadership of this great nation 200 years ago. I am here to remind you that as you have what we call the African in West Africa, and that the people of Southern Cameroon has stood up just as the United States stood 200 years ago and fought for their freedom. I want to remind the top US general that the people of Southern Cameroon is not different from those who stood 200 years ago. And that is here I am reminding the United States defense system that as you stand and you stand to defend the liberty, that was declared some 200 years ago. The people of Southern Cameroon is not exception. There is no time to stand and say no to the people of Southern Cameroon. I am here to remind the United States that the people of Southern Cameroon have the right to liberty, the right to freedom, and the right to pursuit of happiness. That was the message I borrowed from those who wrote the declaration of this great nation. And so as I borrow this word, I am reminding the United States to stand and support people who are seeking for their full destiny. The people of Southern Cameroon have the right to live without any forceful coercion. And that is why I am reminding the United States to stand for liberty and freedom. When people choose their right destiny, the United States must stand by. The United States should not be a coalition against those who seek for liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. I am borrowing from the declaration of those who made this nation become the most amazing nation on the planet. I am here to remind the Undersecretary for African Affairs. I am one to remind the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs. In his message, he declared at the U.S. Congress, said that, or whether the U.S. Senate, that the people of Southern Cameroon believe in Cameroonness. I am here and I took this and reject that the people of Southern Cameroon totally reject that assumption that the U.S. Undersecretary declared that the people of Southern Cameroon believe in Cameroonness. I totally reject that assumption and that the people of Southern Cameroon does not, in any circumstances, believe in Cameroonness. I am sure the citizens of this amazing nation will believe in Britishness. I am not sure that the United States believe in Britishness. They believe in Americanness, not in the Britishness. U.S. stand for liberty. They fought against the British and they fought and become what they are today. The most amazing and the strongest nation on this planet. They didn't believe in Britishness some 200 years ago. Neither now do they believe in Britishness. So we, the people of Southern Cameroon, do not believe in Cameroonness. We believe in Ambazonian. I am here re-echo my message to the U.S. Undersecretary that the people of Southern Cameroon does not in any circumstances believe in Cameroonness. We believe in the pursuit of our own objective. We believe that we can live a liberty, freedom, and freedom to justice. People have the right to move. People have the right to circulate. People have the right to their liberty. People have the right. And that is an Anglo-Saxon way of life. And it's shared by the United States. And the people of South Cameroon does not in any circumstances believe in Cameroonness. Just as the British, the people of the United States does not believe in Britishness. I want to remind the U.S. Undersecretary that he needs to withdraw his statement and that the people of Southern Cameroon has moving forward and they will pursue their rightful destination. And the sovereignty is non-negotiable. I want to remind the people of the United States. I remind that the leadership of the United States is not a blindfold people. The people of the United States are people with energetic intelligence. And so I want the U.S. Undersecretary to reject his statement. He made that the people of Southern Cameroon believe in Cameroonness because they don't believe in Cameroonness. They believe in their right to freedom, their right to justice, their right to the pursuit of happiness. And I borrow again from those who wrote the declaration of this great nation, the pursuit of happiness. The people of Southern Cameroon is not exceptions. I want to remind the U.S. Undersecretary that we totally reject his statement that the Southern Cameroon believe in Cameroonness. Fellow African, this message is not just only for the people of Southern Cameroon, it's for the African continent as a whole. Africa tend to graduate more pastor than more engineer because France oligarchy has formulated the structure of Africa and transformed them to more of a religious anarchy than the liberty and the pursuit of objectives. While China is graduating more than 500 engineers per second, Africa is graduating 500 pastor in per second. What benefit does that entail to the people of Southern Cameroon? That does not mean that I am totally against the pastor. That does not mean that I reject the pastor. But I am simply saying the truth is that we all cherish pastor, but we all have to understand that the strong of liberty and the objective of Africa must be dynamized and re-evaluated, not based on the concept of religious philosophy, but on a concept of engineering philosophy. Because while the world is stronger, Africa is regressing. That is why when you look at the various universities, they are graduating more pastors than they are graduating more engineers. And that is why every single home is preaching gospel. Why? I am not totally against gospel. I love gospel, I attend gospel, but we need to look at what value is more pertinent to the development of Africa. China and the rest of the Asian bloc are competing with the world community. It's not they're not competing because of religious philosophy. They're competing because of an engineering philosophy. That is the world Africa must look upon. France has restructured Africa in such a way that the British faith cannot ever exist. I am asking all fellow Africans to totally reject French anarchy in Africa. I am asking all African countries as a whole to totally reject all the French anarchy. This is the moment that the French CFA should be totally rejected in Africa. All French monetary policy should be totally rejected in Africa. Let Africa have their own currency. Let Africa have their own currency. It doesn't matter that it's backed by France or not. It shouldn't be backed by France. When France needs the product of Africa, they will buy irrespective of what it is. So they don't need France to back the currency of Africa. Just as China don't need the currency of Europe to back their economic system. So we must stand as people of Africa and change the course of destination of Africa. This is the moment that Africa must reject France completely. Africa must reject France completely. That France believes that only their monetary backing must be able to sustain Africa. Africa can sustain irrespective of France if we can pursue the rightful objectives, economic policy, educational policy. We all have to look back and see why did this nation become what it is today? It's because of the educational system and engineering system. And all these good will deliver the best for African because we have the leadership crisis. We have leadership that are glued onto France and believe that without France, there cannot be any existence of Africa. This cause of belief must be changed and re-energize Africa to a new dynamic. Can you imagine that the people of Southern Cameroon are asking for their independence? Instead of France to work with this, France goes to Africa and tell Chadian and tell Nigeria and tell the Republic that they should form a buffer zone against the people of Southern Cameroon. But I am here to remind Africa we have to totally reject Africa, reject France's neo-colonialism in Africa. This is the moment that we must reject the neo-colonialism of the French in Africa. Africa is capable to change their destiny. Can you imagine that Africa are dying to cross into Europe? They're crossing into Europe. When we have fertile soil, we have raw material, we have mineral, we have everything that is found, but they are dying to cross into Europe because we have leadership crisis. Africa has leadership crisis. That is the problem with Africa, leadership crisis. People that have no basically fundamentally no value into life. You have someone in power for 20 years. What are you doing in power for 20 years, for Christ's sake? This is the moment that Africa must rise against all this dictatorship. I urge Africa, young generation, because the current old generation has no value. And we must rise against this old generation in Africa and rebuild Africa so that we can compete with the rest of the world community. We can do this. We can compete with the world community. Imagine that China, we imagine South Korea, North Korea. It's because of engineering, technology that has made them to become a pronounced in the world community. Why we focus more on religious gospel than the economic bloc, and that we have leadership crises that are rushing behind France. Let's take, for example, Boris is rushing into Europe. Guess who is the doctor in that hospital that he will be going there to Europe? The doctors are African. The doctors are African. Nurses are African working there. And that is the people that are going to be attached to him. He has been president. Boris has been president for 37 years, for Christ's sake. But now he's rushing to Europe for hospital. He's currently in France. He's currently, as I'm speaking, in France for medical checkup. Why he's the president? What has he done as a president? Has he done anything? If he has collaborated and asked all the educationists, all those who have studied in those various hospitals, and asked them to build, provide funding, we would have been able to compete. But unfortunately, that is not the case, because he's a corrupt individual with the complicity of the French government. But I am here asking all Africans, we have to totally reject African neocolonialism, and we have to start to look outwards and see the future, bright future for African development. We have to do so, fellow brothers and sisters. Let's look at what is happening in Southern Cameroon in Kondegui. I want to first of all thank those in Kondegui that they should not be held hostage. They should not be held hostage by the neo-colonialism. We can stand and fight them wherever they are, even in their jailhouse, in their military, in their gendarmerie, in their police force. I urge you, wherever you are, stand up against the enemy. The guns has nothing. The battle of guns will not do anything with the people of Southern Cameroon. If you are in Kondegui, reject them. If you are in La Republic, reject them, because this is the moment the people of Southern Cameroon need to free themselves. Let's look how they react in Kondegui. Yes. Wherever you are, reject La Republic. Fight them wherever they are, whether in Kondegui, in the gendarmerie. Let's face them. Let's reject them whatever we have. And this is the moment. Yes. I am going to be coming back to that video. So, fellow brothers and sisters, we are capable to manage ourselves. We don't need La Republic to tell us how we should be living our life. We totally reject La Republic. So therefore, I am urging that this unity that continue to perplex us. I ask us to come together. By coming together, we need to come a unified solution. and that we can be able to handle La Republic. We need to take them the war, the battle, right into La Republic presidency, because that is the way they will surrender. If we don't take the war to La Republic presidency, then we are nowhere to be found. So this is the moment, wherever we are, whether you are in Kondegui, whether you are in La Republic Marie, wherever you are, I am urging that this is the moment that we must face them squarely. If you have whatever you want position, whether you are in the police and you have the identity of the people of Southern Cameroon, I urge you that this is the moment we must massacre and tell them this is the moment that we must liberate the people of Cameroon. We must liberate the people of Southern Cameroon. We must liberate the people of Southern Cameroon. You all listen what is happening in Europe. British is voting in a simple election, and it is a friendly gesture that for separate with Europe. There is no single gunshot. Look at our own brothers are being dumped in Kondegui because they want to force us to be their slave. But I am that we totally reject La Republic completely. We totally reject La Republic completely. This is the beginning of the revolution. This is the moment. Whenever you see La Republic in Southern Cameroon, make sure we have an enemy. Make sure you give a maximum damage to them and keep maximum damage. We need to tell the world that we no longer have to listen to La Republic. We must leave our freedom. This is the beginning of the uprising. This is the beginning of the uprising. We've asked La Republic to leave our territory and they from Kondegui. Even when they put them in Jena Marine, your voice, we can break the structure wherever they put every structure in La Republic, because if they don't want to leave the people of Southern Cameroon, they think they can hold on to the people of Southern Cameroon. We are here to tell them we reject them completely. This is the moment that we had just begun. Fellow brothers, I stand with you in Kondegui. I stand with you together. I stand with you together. We reject La Republic completely. Yes. That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. These are our brothers that have been suffering in Kondegui. And one of our brothers just right. I don't see why we should have a CFA as a legal tender in Southern Cameroon. We should totally reject the CFA. We create our own currency. We don't matter whether they accept it or not. So long as what is the purpose of money? Money is the exchange of goods and services between the people that acknowledge. Just like if Nigeria does not accept our currency, our Ambazonia, we will accept it because that's the medium of exchange. That I can sell my bag of cement, that I can sell my bag of rice, that I can sell. So long as my brother is able to take that money and buy another bag of cement from somewhere, then we are moving forward. But when neighboring Nigeria will need the bag of cement of Southern Cameroon, they will have to accept the legal tender. This is the moment that we don't need to ask the world to tell us what kind of money we must have. We must have our own legal tender, and our money must be created. And we reject the world community to decide the future of the people of Southern Cameroon. This is the beginning of the revolution. That is why I urge every Southern Cameroon, whether you are in La Republic military, wherever you are, I urge you to join this moment of revolution. I will be forced into a wedding that never took place. They forced us into a wedding that never took place. If the United States stood against the British, it was one question: either no taxation without a representation. That was the key philosophy that made the people of the United States revolt against the British. No taxation without a representative. That was the key philosophy that they revolt against the British government. And so too, the people of Southern Cameroon have the right to revolt against the neighboring country because there was no relationship. We were forced into this coalition by the British government, and they stay aside as though they are not aware of the situation. Fellow brothers and sisters, this is the moment that we stand as one people, unity. Let's forgive whatever. Let's forget about whether you belong to this camp, you belong to this. Freedom and liberty should be the goal of our people. Let's avoid all this divisiveness. Call your brother and apologize and say, I am sorry. This is the way we can move forward. Call him and tell him, I am sorry. We can move forward with our nation. And we can work it out. We can work it out if we move forward. But if we allow a lot of people to dictate on behalf of us, then we are going to be crumbling. That is why I am advising you, look at our brothers in Kondegui. Let's listen to them again, one more. That's Ambazonia in Kondegui. That's Ambazonia in Kondegui, in La Republic jailhouse. So this is the moment that wherever you are, I think this is the time we need to start breaking all those jailhouses. We are capable. We break those jailhouses and we get out and we start the beginning of a change. Because the people of Southern Cameroon has got enough of this rubbish. And freedom and liberty must be the goal and objective of the people of Southern Cameroon. I want to thank those who have sacrificed their lives. I want to deeply thank those who have already sacrificed their lives for the liberty and freedom of the people of Southern Cameroon. I know we will continue to sacrifice most of our lives, but I want to thank those who stand in the forefront for this revolution. I want to thank those who stand in the forefront for this revolution, and that the liberty that we are pursuing will never be regrettable. And that the land republic that was forced upon the people of Southern Cameroon, we are here to reject them completely. And that we stand as one people. And that freedom and liberty is the ultimate goal for the people of Southern Cameroon. And that we reject land republic completely. Fellow brothers, I want to take a moment to thank all of you. That the differences that are being imposed upon us, that differences is created by La Republic. And the ultimate goal is to destabilize the unity that we have. And I am urging you that this disunity that have been imposed upon the people of Southern Cameroon, and that creating some kind of a commotion. But I am here to remind you that we stand and reject all those individuals that are creating this disunity. You need to stand up and look upon us and look upon yourself. When you want to post something about the people of Southern Cameroon, you need to take a look and say, what impact does this message have for the people of Southern Cameroon? And when you see that those message has no particular impact to the people of Southern Cameroon's unity, I urge you to reject that messages, because that will create a confusion, will create disunity, and those does not lead us into anywhere. freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The United States, there were not few individuals that stood for these great nations. They stood. It doesn't matter whether it was 1,000,000 people, but 13 states in this wonderful, amazing nation, the United States, 13 states stood for this liberty. They fought against the British and they liberate themselves from British. It doesn't matter what the amount of the population. You may be regarded as an immigrant. You may be regarded as enemies. But you need to stand up because liberty. I remember when I attend a meeting, people would look at me upon like those that are crazy. I say, no, you are the one crazy because you are being succumbed to the persuasive of the wrongful ideas that you don't believe. You are living in the United States. You are living in the United States because somebody fought for this nation. And that is why you are the beneficiary. You go to work, you say, oh, I make money. You make money because someone in this country sacrificed their life before you are enjoying. So if you are, then you cannot stand. You cannot stand for your own nation that you escape because you cannot even stop. You can't even contribute. You can't even do nothing. Ask yourself, is that what? Because you just need to stand and be benefiting because someone has sacrificed for you and you don't want to sacrifice for your own nation that you escape from. Fellow brothers and sisters, this message is to remind you, you need to ask yourself, what am I and what am I subject to? Because when you ask yourself, and why did you come here to this great nation? Why did you even travel to Germany? Why did you travel? Because something went wrong, and that is why you came here. After your education, that education kept you still in bondage because you haven't shown your own people that you have become something that have been the best product of the United States. You are the best product from Germany. You are the best product from Great Britain. You are the best product from Russia. You are the best product. You stand silent and you look upon people because you think that the people in this great nation sacrifice because of what we are benefiting. So we need to stand up. We need to stand up. Because you are the most confused individual if you do not stand up against the people of Southern Cameroon. Because when people talk about the Southern Cameroon, people look upon it as those are crazy. You are the one crazy because you have failed in your obligation. Why are you even physical here? If you cannot benefit your own nation and you watch what is going on, you stand like a stupid. I urge you to think about this. Think about this. How did this nation? I am glad that the United States always advise people to read their government, to read their history. To read their history, to read the history of the United States. The essence of reading the history of the United States is to make people understand who they are and how they have come a long way to be who they are today. But unfortunately, we haven't seen people value the benefit they have gained from this amazing nation when 13 states stood against the liberty of this nation. And yet people don't want to be participants. They want to stand aside and think that some people have to fight for on their behalf. I am here urging you. You need to think about this. If you are the one that is creating confusion, I urge you to reject confusion and stand for the liberty. If you have no idea, listen. If you have no idea, share what people have. If you have no idea, match with those who have idea. You have nothing. Contribute something. And for the liberty of the people of Southern Cameroon. I have no more to talk to you, but to advise you that you need to come on board. And those who are causing confusion, please reject confusions. You have to ask yourself, where are we heading to? The people of Southern Cameroon. I want to take a moment to thank of you. I want to thank all of you that the people of Southern Cameroon freedom and liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I borrow from the American who wrote these great nations, the pursuit of happiness. So the people of Southern Cameroon is in essence the pursuit of that happiness. I want to thank all of you for watching. I wish you all a happy the rest of your day. This is Fundon Daniel speaking live from the great state of Texas here in the United States. God bless all of you. God bless Ambazonia. Freedom must come and must reign.